Everybody, and welcome back to our last video in this course. So here you can see that in the previous course we created our particle system, and now if you play this animation you can see that we have this stylized fire, and right now we know exactly how we can use particle system in Blender. So in this course we are going to do some interesting stuff, and especially for beginners we are going to create some animation with characters. So first thing that I will get rid of everything except my camera, and with the Shift and C I will return my 3D cursor in the middle of our grid. So now I'm going to open our internet browser, and here I will go on mixamo.com. This page is done by Adobe company, so right now also you will need to create accounts for your own, and here you can see that this is a web page where you can find free characters and animation that you can use for your projects. So now you can go under characters and search all different monsters and all different characters that you can use for your animation. We have some really funny one like this dozy. It will take some time to be loaded, but once it's loaded you can see it actually glitches because it doesn't work 100%, but some of them are fine, some of them are not. And here as you can see we have a really cool one, really high quality characters which we can use for all our projects, and those are really good starting points when it comes getting started with character animation. So right now I will go on our first page actually on our second, and I want to use this Y bot. Let me just find it. It should be somewhere here. So I'm going to go and increase number of characters that are going to be shown, and it's right here. So this bot, because it doesn't have too complex textures, and I think this one is one of the best when it comes to beginners. So also now you can go under animation, and here you will find a lot of animation that you can apply to your character. So here you can see that we have zombie idle animation, or let's go on some other page. So here we can see different animation that we can apply to our character. We have this standard walk, and here you can decide would you like to be in the place and would you like to be mirrored, and here you will decide the speed of your animation and so on. So I want to find kick animation where this E-bot is kicking. So let's find some interesting one. So for our animation we are going to use some fly kick. I would like to find it. Actually, let's search fly kick here. Maybe something like this. And I want to keep everything here the same, so I want to download this character and this animation as well. So here you will need to select download, and here you can select different types of format and also different types of skin and frame per second. So I want to keep everything as it is, and now I will press download, and our downloading is going to begin. So I will save it here on desktop, and right now I can go and close the whole internet browser. Now I can go back on in Blender, and here under file I will need to import that FBX file. So you will need to search for FBX, and on our desktop it should be flying kick, and here everything should be fine and the same. So now if you play this animation nothing will happen, but that's because it ends up on our 46th frame. So here for the ending I will decide to go with the 46th frame. So now let's see how this one is looking so far. So now I will press 0 to enter in camera view, and now I will go and navigate my camera, but actually it's set to orthographic, so that's the reason why I cannot zoom it. So now I will switch back to perspective view, and immediately I will be able to zoom in and zoom out. By the way, if you want to slow down camera speed, you will need to scroll down your mouse. So actually, let's try to animate camera. So maybe this one here, and for example on this frame here I want to be, let's try this one here. I will press I also for rotation. So actually it's zoomed in, and after that I want to zoom out. Now I will press I for inserting keyframes here. So let's see, it's following, and when it kicks, actually it should be here. So now it looks much better than before. So when he jumps, it following him, and now it's going back on its original position. So very cool animation we have with just simple character, and as you can see, really cool result. So with the Shift and A we can go and add plane to our scene. And now we can switch to rendered view, but as you can see we cannot see anything, and the reason for that is because we don't have any light. So for example we can go and add sun lamp. I will turn on overlay so we can see it. So let's see. But for this one I'm going to change the type, and it's not going to be sun this time, but I want to have area light. And I want it to be on top here, so let's actually try to make some interesting one. And here you will have different kind of light if you want. We can also change the lighting as well, but I'm going to keep everything as it is. So right now I'm also going to get rid of my background because I want to have different approach for this animation. So let's see if everything is fine here. I'm going to check it real quick, and everything should be fine. So we have 46th frame, and now for example we can go and change interpolation mode here to be linear. Let's switch to solid view so we can have it. Actually for those type of animation, Bezier is much better than linear type. So let's try a little bit more different approach, but I believe this one is too fast, so I'm going to return it. Let's go and see this one here. Let's make it even faster. So it looks like it's kicking the camera, which is a really cool result. So something like this is actually going to be fine. So you can play with all of these keyframes as you want. I'm going to keep focal length 50. I will turn on depth of field, and this one I will focus on his knee, on his foot actually, this one. Or actually we should focus on his knee. I'm going also this time to switch to cycle because I want to have higher quality render. And right now we can go and play with the depth of field. So we can go low with 1.2, so those are going to be fine. This time I'm going to turn on motion blur as well. And I want to show you one really cool trick, and that one is if you want to render this to be transparent, you can go under output settings, under render settings actually, and here under fill you just need to turn on transparent, and this time you cannot see anything except this character here on the background, and it's not going to be rendered anyway. And here you can decide the contrast of your final render. So I'm going to keep mine to be medium high contrast, and also if you go all the way down you can use curves to decide the brightness of your character. So the lower value is darker and the more higher number is going to be brighter. So mine I would like to be just a little bit down, so I would like to have something like this. So those are the settings that can help you to increase to have higher quality render. So if you want to render it faster, you can use GPU compute, but because I'm working on a Mac, I will not be able to use this GPU compute, and I will render the whole scene just using CPU. So here you can turn on adaptive sampling, which is new feature. And let's see what else we have here. Everything should be fine. So now under output setting you can select your number of frame rate. So as we see already on Maximo, we selected that our frame rate is going to be 30 frames per second, so we should leave everything as it is. And here we have different kinds of file format that we can export. So we can use it as a PNG. So one of the most and the best way to render the animation is going to be with PNG, to render it as a image sequencer, but later on we will need to merge those together in AV or MP4 or MKV in order to see the animation. So the reason for using PNG is that because if your Blender crashes for some reason, you will be able to continue from the last frame that you ended up. And here also you can render it out as a AV JPEG. You can increase quality to 100%, and also you can select the color from black and white to RGB. And also if you would want to render it out as a MP4, you can just change to FMPEG video, and here for encoding you just need to change to MPEG-4 and it's going to be rendered as a MP4 file. So for this I will leave as a AV JPEG because I believe that this one is the best and highest quality render. And also, for example, you need to turn on denoising, and if you turn on denoising data you will have different you can also increase the quality render in compositing later on. So here everything should be the same, and now I'm going to render one frame, and later on we are going to use compositing for compositing background and also adding some fine details. So let's render the whole image right now. We will need only one frame for this one. And because we have our motion blur turned on, you can see that we have now blur on our character. And it's always good thing to have motion blur in some actions like this one here, as you can see. So here you can see that we are done with rendering this, and now we can go under compositing, and here I'm going to move this down. So for the compositing we are going to use nodes, and here we have those two nodes. So with the Shift and A we are going to search for viewer node, and now I'm going to plug in this image to image. So now you can see this background here. So with the Shift and A we are going to search for alpha over node, and for example we can go and plug in this one here and here, and now you will be able to see the pure white background of this as well. So also for for color management, if you want to have pure white background, you can go and use different type of colors. So right now is set to filmic, and you can change it to standard. So now it's pure white background, and here if you want you can go and play with this background color as you want, but I'm going to keep this one filmic because it's a little bit softer and it looks more subtle than this one here. So I'm going to keep this one white, and so with the Shift and A here I'm going to use also to find the noise node, and I'm going to plug in this denoise node. Actually I will need to plug in this denoise normal and also noisy image here, and denoising albedo as well. So like this, and here I'm going to go also with mix, and I want to mix this one here with this one, and now I want to mix this node here. Actually I don't need this second here, and now everything should be fine. So let's see it. So don't forget to use compositing and to connect this image to compositing as well. And here you can play with all of these colors here. You can select different color approach. But for now I'm going to keep mine pure white. This because it looks really nice. And here for example we can go and select multiply to mix those. Actually I'm going to use just mix to mix those HDRI denoise. So now it looks much better than it is. Also later on if you want you can go and change the color management, and here you can select different contrast. So I'm going to keep mine medium high contrast, and everything here should be fine. And here you can increase number of sampling, but for now I'm going to keep everything as it is. And now my animation is going to be ready to render it out, so we can just go render and render animation. But before that we will need to change the name of it. So this is going to be sixth animation. I'm going to save this file, and here I will press render and render animation, and our rendering is going to begin. So that's it about this course. I hope you like it. This is introduction to animation. We had couple of projects that we work on through this course, and I hope you learned something, and see you in the next one. Bye.